You have just 5 years left to escape the working hustle culture system. If you do not figure out a way to make money online and have total location freedom, then it is going to become a lot harder to escape the system that most people are trapped into. So this is not, the goal of this video is not, fear mongering by any means, but it is just to be aware and prepare yourself as much as possible. So unfortunately right now, over the past, 10 years, the cost of living has risen quite massively. More and more people are having a hard time paying their bills. They can barely afford to live comfortably on their own, let alone starting an entire family. And I'm also seeing a lot more people around my age that are staying with their parents, continue to live with parents and not moving out. And as a result of this, less people are getting married, less people are starting families, and more people are just working endlessly. You got the 40-hour week job, and then on top of that, you likely have, a side hustle or two on the side of that. And even with all of that, it's still barely enough to live comfortably on your own. So I am a very strong believer in making money online, and specifically having an online business, creating your own digital economy, because no matter how hard you work at a job, you could only make so much money, right? So if you work at a retail store, or even if you have like a higher paying job, with the inflation rate continuing to rise up, with the elites printing trillions of dollars every single year, the cost of living is only going to rise up exponentially. And so I believe that that's going to continue to be the case regardless of who's in office. And for that reason, you definitely want to create as much, as many income streams as possible that don't require you to be working 24/7. So I also, this might come off as controversial, but I believe that making even just a couple $1,000 a month online is in many ways more valuable than making, six figures a year at a regular job where you have to be, tied to that one location. And a lot of people are making good money at their jobs, but they are stuck to that one location, or they're doing a bunch of physical labor, which is doing a ton of wear and tear on their body, and their living expenses are very high. So I believe that the best way to escape is to minimize expenses as much as possible, right? So that this is going to be a lot easier to do if you are a single person. So if you are a young person watching this video and you're not like in a relationship, you don't have kids, and you're just trying to make money by yourself, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to, of course, implement this. But the less you can live with, that you can be content with, then the easier it's going to be for you to, of course, experience freedom, right? So if you work 40 hours a week at a job, you come home, maybe you live with your parents, maybe you live with a couple roommates, then you can use that free time wisely. And if you have low expenses where you're not paying $1,500 a month for a studio apartment, then you could take a lot of that money and you could invest it into assets online, whether that is investing into silver or cryptocurrency, or what I say is the best overall is starting an online business, which you don't really need that much for. But if you can invest, let's say $500 into an online business that you resonate with, then that's going to give you a lot more breathing room to mess up along the way. So maybe you do things like you run ads and you want to figure out like, okay, what's actually going to convert for me, then you're going to have a lot more spending power to invest into an online business and see what works, right? And so you might go through a phase where you're putting in a ton of work throughout a few years and nothing's really paying off, but that even after all that work, you're going to figure out, let's say, 100 different ways of how not to do something, and you're still going to be ahead of the person 5 years down the line who hasn't done anything, who's mainly just lived in the moment, and they haven't really tried making money online. And so once you figure out something that works for you, and you figure out a way to even generate a couple $100 a month online, or $1,000 or $2,000, or just a couple $1,000s a month online, then you have the freedom and flexibility to live wherever you want. And so while the cost of living in the United States in most places is just, a complete ripoff, then you can decide to live somewhere else where the cost of living is much cheaper. So you can either go the route of living off grid. If that's an option for you, you can live in your car, which probably is going to be the ideal for most people, or you can go the route of either moving to a smaller city where cost of living is a lot more affordable, or the other option is going to be moving to another country and just experiencing other cultures. And so right now, it's actually a lot cheaper to travel all throughout other countries compared to just staying in the US and just, staying in one location. So most places outside of the US, if you're earning even just, $3,000 a month online, you could live pretty comfortably with just that itself. And so that's especially if you go to places in Southeast Asia or Latin America. Some places in Europe, you can live pretty comfortably as well, but that is going to be the ultimate goal that will enable you to have the ultimate freedom and flexibility to live the lifestyle that you want. And so once you achieve that, then you could decide to maybe start a family elsewhere where it's a lot more affordable, there's less division, and then of course it's going to be a lot easier to raise a family, right? And so the reason why you want to do this as quickly as possible is because you also don't know if AI is going to take over a lot of these positions. I don't think it's going to be I don't think AI is going to advance as quickly as people are saying. That's just my personal opinion, but you don't want to end up in a position where things shift and then you're not you don't have everything in place, right? So that is why you should invest your free time very wisely, and you should it's like raining as I'm ending this video off, but you definitely want to invest your time into learning skills online that will allow you to escape the rat race. So anything in terms of doing digital marketing or copywriting, or you could even leverage AI to make money, and I'm seeing a lot of people do very well with that, and that can help you automate a ton of things. So invest your time wisely, learn as much as you can, but take massive action, and you will be in a much better position than 99% of people. So I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Give this a thumbs up, and take care. See you in the next one.